Would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Babcock? Mrs. Sweet?
Here.
Mr. Bear?
Here.
Mr. Whitaker?
Here.
Mr. Avery?
Here.
Mr. Hannah?
Here. Council does have a quorum. Please join me in pledging allegiance to our flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Good evening. This is the regular session of the Enon Village Council. This is Tuesday, September 13th, 2022. Additions to our agenda this evening.
Yes, sir. Under committee reports for the Public Service Committee, I have something.
Okay, Mrs. Sweet, we will add you there. Any other additions?
You want the results of that water study, where you want that, just in my report, or?
That's going to be under presentations.
Okay.
And then we'll need a motion and a second to approve Mr. Babcock's absence.
So moved.
Second.
And that is moved by Mr. Hannah, seconded by Mrs. Sweet. And if you'd call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
That motion is approved. Minutes of the Tuesday, August 23rd, 2022 meeting. Those, along with the August 9th, 2022 meeting, will have to wait for approval because we will need the members that were present to vote for the approval of both of those, and Mr. Babcock will have to be present along with the other members that were present at that time. So we'll just, no big deal. We'll just delay those minutes. Let's go into the financial report. And we will have the August reconciliation at the next meeting. Laura's waiting for some more financials from the water department, but our cash summary by fund, if you look at the general fund, we have $166,000 in our general fund. Street construction, maintenance, and repair, about $56,000. Looking at the ARPA funds, $135,000. Police levy, $325,000. $43,000 in the water, and that, of course, is without the August collection in there, so that will go up tremendously. And then $110,000 in our contingency fund. Going over to the revenue status, and I don't think, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't think any of these have changed since the last meeting, but we have basically 80% in the general. And again, the thing that we talked about at the last meeting was it looked like that we over projected through our estimated resources that was sent to us, or approved, I should say, by the county auditor's office. However, they had actually adjusted the figures that Laura sent, and I've got an explanation for that. I'll read that here in just a second. So while it looks like, for instance, under the general property tax that we are short $11,000, I think her estimate, instead of being $163,800, I believe, Jeremy, you remember, it's like 150, 54, 56 or something like that. So they actually did that increase, and I'll read a response here in just a second. So the bottom line is, after everything is said and done, we are not going to show 100% in the general fund, and that's going to be the reasoning for that. If you look under street construction, maintenance, and repair, we're about 57% there. And again, I don't think she has included August's collections with that. Police levy, about 89%. This will be on page 3. 89% collected. And again, you've got that same deficit, if you will, for those general property taxes of about $21,000. And again, that is because of the adjustment that was made at the county level. Water operating, 59%. And overall, this report shows 70%. And again, those will go up when she gets the reconciled figures and gets everything entered into that. From an appropriation standpoint, let's see, let's look at page 2 of the general fund, and we've spent about 77% of what we have appropriated. Under street construction, we're about 60%. We go to page 3, under the police levy, we're about 66%. And let's see, that last page 5, in the water department, we're about 72%. Overall percent of expenditures compared to the amount appropriated is about 69%. So we're doing overall a really good job there. And we're heading into the last part of the year, and a lot of the projects that we started at the beginning of the year, those account for sometimes heavy expenses. You get towards the end of the year, we're kind of winding things down. So I think overall we're going to be in good shape. Let me, while we're talking about the finances, let me get that. If I can find that letter.
Did Laura already do this appropriation adjustment?
She has not.
Okay. Did she need an approval for that?
She does.
All right.
Yes.
I'll move that we increase the rec program personal services line item 1,310 by 5,000.
I'll second.
So moved by Mr. Whitaker. And who got the second on that? Mrs. Sweet seconded that. And if you call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Okay, that increase has been approved. So what we got back from County Auditor's Office, Mr. Dave Crew, basically just says for year 2022, which was prepared in August 2021, the taxes are computed using 2020 and 2021 collection years because these are the approved amounts and rates per state of Ohio. For 2021 and 2022 collection years, 2021 tax year and 2022 collection year, the values and tax rates are approved in October through December of 2021. The auditor's office recalculates the estimates based upon the values and the rates that are included in the First Amendment of Certificate of Estimated Resources once they receive the carryover balances. So we submitted based upon their best estimate. They increased those, and it just didn't, that's just not how it played out. So, but that's the explanation. And maybe we'll see, with reevaluation this year for collection next year, maybe we'll see those increases, so.
Yeah, we're seeing increases, all right.
Kevin, did we get it all covered?
Yes, I think we did.
Okay, I think we're in good shape there. So I will turn this part over to you for the presentation of the water modeling and the results there, and we can kind of see what Mr. Brent Huntsman came up with. Just a little bit of a background. We did hire the Tarrant Corporation, Mr. Brent Huntsman, who has done work for the village probably for the last 20-plus years, and we wanted to get his professional opinion on the potential location of production wells on the new property that we purchased for recreational purposes. And the whole idea is we want to make sure that we would have a site where we could put a well or two in the future if need be and still coincide with any kind of recreational activities. So
Right.
with that background, Kevin, I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you, Mayor, Council, residents. Yes, we did turn that over to Brent Huntsman, like the mayor said, and he did his modeling and his study of that property. And in your packet, he did send back a pretty good sized letter and some pictures and his findings, what he thinks that location would produce in wells. So in the one drawing, it kind of shows you where 4 possible wells could be. And then on the last page of the letter, he says hypothetical, the well locations on the Conley property has a potential to provide an additional 500 to 1,000 gallons per minute of raw water to our water treatment plant. So that's some pretty good news. But like I said, we wanted to get this done, kind of to go in conjunction with the proposed or the sports complex that we're kind of talking about. And then we went to, and I think Rick has a drawing, or I don't know if everybody has a drawing from last week or whatever, but the architect, he kind of did some brainstorming. We met with him and positioned some ball fields and soccer fields and things like that. But we were kind of waiting on this study to get back, just to make sure that we weren't going to place any buildings or ball fields, where the potential well sites would be. So
Kevin, can you put that up on the screen? Do we have
I
that on the
did
screen?
not. There's a loose wire in there I got to find.
Okay,
Yep,
all
there's
right.
a loose wire. So that's my homework for the rest of this week to try to track it down. So, so we're looking, possibly the two wells closest to the existing park, the two sites closest to the existing park, as potential sites. So, and I think that would stay within that 300 foot range. So
So if you don't mind,
No, go ahead.
so what we did was we looked at the map that Rick had come up with the engineer, just kind of that preliminary drawing to see where the ball fields were at. And we looked at the results of what Brent Huntsman came up with. There are two areas that would produce 1,000 gallons a minute. There were two that would produce 500. So if you look at that map, he's got PW5 and PW6. That would be good production wells. We've all agreed that pursuing something for the expense for 500 gallons a minute is not going to be worth it. So if we kept in mind where the ball fields would be and came south of that, stayed 300 feet basically from the property line that runs along where the tracks are at, we could put potentially 2, maybe 3 wells in there and still stay 300 feet away from the ball diamonds. So I think that's the area that we're going to concentrate on, and I don't think that would interfere with the ball fields, and of course not the soccer fields. So one would be kind of back in that southwest corner there, and if we kept them, I believe he said 150 feet apart, 300 feet apart, we could be in good shape. That gives us a lot of flexibility. It gives us plenty of production if we needed it in the future, and it gives us an easy place to tie in to the existing water line that runs back to the treatment plant. So the bottom line is, it's all good news.
yeah, so I think with this news and this drawing, we can get back with the architect and he can kind of fine tune some ideas for us and kind of be in a better position to move forward.
If I can continue with that a little bit, in conjunction with the township, I would suggest we probably want to schedule a special meeting with maybe our Parks Committee and to start looking at some public input, so that way we can engage the public as we're going through this. We've got a general idea about what we want to do, and then put that out to see about the community concerns or community thoughts, for what it's worth.
Any other comments on that topic? Okay.
All right, and moving on to the mayor's court report for the month of August. There was 4 cases, 2 traffic, 2 zoning violations. The funds received for the month was $1,207. Year to date, $16,517. Funds dispersed to the state this month in August was $104. Year to date, $2,564. Total remitted to the village, $1,100, and total remitted to the village year to date, $13,854. Brings us back to a total dispersed of $1,200 and $1,207, and year to date, $16,517.
I'll move that we accept the mayor's court report as presented.
I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker, seconded by Mrs. Sweet. Any further discussion? Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet?
Yes.
Mr. Bear?
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker?
Yes.
Mr. Avery?
Yes.
Mr. Hannah?
Yes.
All right, thank you. Jason and I are going to training tomorrow. It's training and exercise plan that the EMA, Clark County EMA, is putting on for hazardous material train derailment. That's going to be here in Springfield, and it's an all-day 9 to 5 morning session is like in-class type of training, and then in the afternoon we'll be out along the railroad track someplace, I'm assuming, and going through some role playing, I think. So I think it's when we got this initially in an email, I got a hold of Jason. I said I think this would be a good idea since there was a train derailment not too long ago. There's a lot of stuff that goes down these tracks, that we may not know about. So it's better to maybe get a little bit of training and see how to handle some things. So we'll be gone from 9 to 5 tomorrow, Jason and I. So hydrant flushing is going good. We are. Jason said right on schedule. So we probably got possibly 3 weeks left to finish. They just finished up the Augusta plat, so everything's going good. Doug and Dave Walters is out there flushing. Jason's been kind of down with the construction crew on Xenia Road, so Doug and Dave is doing pretty good at getting some flush. And we've had some calls of brown water, but it seems to kind of settle up real quick. So.
And let me add something real quick while it's on my mind.
Yeah.
Davis Drive will be closed there at Enon Xenia. They did trench across that, ran into a lot of pit run. That ditch has kind of caved in a
Collapsed
little.
a couple different times, yeah.
It's given them fits. So that will be closed. I think, Mike, you know about it. You've been made aware, and I think the fire department's been notified, but just so everybody else does. And hopefully they'll get that tidied up tomorrow.
Yeah, it kind of happened here late in the afternoon, and because they couldn't get no fill to flow the fill that late, so they just decided to close that section down. It's about 300 feet, Jason said.
Are they recycling the spoil, or can we if it's a pit run, if we can
No place it can be done.
use some of that spoil by chance?
I can check, but I think they're recycling it. Yeah.
Backfill.
So I do have we talked to the Ohio Bureau of Workers' Comp about a trench grant. They have a safety grant. It's not actually a safety grant because that's kind of went by the wayside for a while, but there's a trenching grant that they told us about when they were in here a few weeks ago. And I did set up a time next Tuesday for a Bain Enterprise representative to come in and show us what they call a smart shore system. It's inflatable, actually. And that does qualify for the grant. So I didn't hear about this until the BWC was here, and they said, "Well, have you heard about the smart shore system?" No, I've never heard about it. It's pretty neat. It's almost like Kevlar bags that fill up with air, and yeah. So that's next Tuesday that the rep's going to be here in the morning, and he's going to do a little demonstration. He'll bring in the cost of the whole system, things like that.
When is that?
What's that? Tuesday. Next Tuesday at 8 o'clock down at the shop, if anybody's interested in taking a look at it.
Yeah.
So it's pretty interesting. I watched the video on YouTube. It's pretty interesting. They fold up, compactable, and put in a nice case, and so hopefully everything works out. That grant is a 4-to-1 match. So every $4 they put in, we put in $1. So it's a pretty good deal. So we're hoping that comes through. Ian got the concrete poured for the Gaga Ball pit down at the park. I'll be sawing that yet this week, cutting it for him. But he's going to be starting to build that, weather permitting, on Saturday. So
Does
you
the
might see some
finish,
action.
is that the finish that you'll end up with on there, or do they do something?
Him and his grandfather poured it, and the concrete kind of got away from him. Started to dry real quick, and
Gotcha,
so,
okay.
His grandfather's going to come in and put a skim coat on the low area. There's one section that's low. He's
Little
gonna-
bird bath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
little bird bath.
Okay.
So, but he's gonna fix that. But like I said, Ian's scheduled to come in and start putting the boards up on Saturday and start getting it constructed. So.
Okay, good deal.
The walk path excavation started today. Mead Construction is out there tearing out the old walk path. And he's going to be, he said he'd have asphalt by Friday, but it's going to be, I don't think so. But
Not gonna happen.
I think he'll have it done maybe by Monday, something like his portion of it. So he also did the Sunnybrook cul-de-sac. That turned out really good.
Did a nice job on that.
Down there at the couple times, and especially there at the end of the project, talked to a few neighbors down there, and they're really pleased with it. I mean, it's been a long time coming, and so it looks really good. And now I'm thinking I got to get with Paul Cavanaugh to see if we can't put some around the cul-de-sac on the inside, bury some posts or something, because the trace trucks is really what's breaking that down. They come around there and cut the corners and stuff like that. So I'm going to take a picture of it and talk to him about if it's, liability, if somebody hits those poles, who's liable, even though it's our property, or, stuff like that before I do it. So I'll let you all know on that. So. I think that's all I have for now, Mayor.
Let me go back real quick to just an item of communication that I had.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kevin, and then I will actually turn this over to you so it'll work out well. So I got a correspondence from First Energy, and it says, you're receiving this letter because the Village of Enon is recently taking service under the Ohio Edison Efficiency Safety Incentive Program for street lighting service. Historically, under this program, customers were required to receive retail generation service from Ohio Edison. Effective immediately, these customers may now elect to shop for retail generation service with a certified competitive retail electric service provider while remaining in the same program. So what that means is we're going to go out, we have the ability to go out and shop for the street lighting,
So,
which we have been locked into previously under Ohio Edison. So seems how you're getting pretty good at this, I'll turn this over to you. So, any questions for our administrator? I know we got a lot of stuff going on right now, and, these things will be winding up here in the next few weeks. When South Senior Street gets done with the gas line, that's going to be huge for everybody. I know probably Mike gets complaints, but I will say one thing, they are very courteous, the people that are working out there. People directing traffic are very good. They've been trying to cooperate with the school, so I think it's the best that we could have at the time.
I think so.
So.
I think so.
I have one thing for Kevin. Kevin,
Yes.
can the guys put the apple butter banners up sometime this next week,
yes.
please? Thank you.
Any questions, comments for our administrator? Seeing none. Chief, welcome back. I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. Good evening, Mayor, Council, and residents. Yeah, it's good to be back, too. That was a pretty good training. Just a little update. The number one I've got is upcoming events, the DEA things. Anyways, upcoming events, I got Culpeper Merriweather, the circus that was supposed to be back during the COVID times. They reached out to me via email. They're wanting to come back May of 2023. I reached out to Superintendent Darren Kanapke. I think that might have been recommended by you or somebody. Anyways, to instead of
Yep,
doing
we
it at
did.
the park, to Enon Primary there, and he said that would be fine. So I'll follow up
excellent.
with an email with him to remind him that we talked about that on the phone and get that nailed in. But they'll be back. They did say that they won't be doing the telemarketing sales by phone because, quote, nobody in this area will answer a call from an unknown number.
That's right. Surprise, surprise.
I'm one of those people.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'll talk with them more. I don't really know what that means, but this is something the previous chief had kind of taken the wing, and I know that they don't normally work with the police so much. And at any rate, we'll get it straightened up. I got some tickets already from the previous, but we'll get it moving on, and then we'll just reevaluate it afterwards.
Good plan.
Yes. The other thing, I don't know if you saw, but I got a call from have the DEA National Drug Take Back. That's going to be scheduled for October 29th. That'll be next month here. Our drug drop box out there, as usual. You just bring the residents or whoever bring their pharmaceuticals in, no sharps, liquids, or anything else, aerosols. Put them in the box between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. We'll have an officer on site to have that door open. That's a Saturday, and then they'll dispose of them for free for us. Got put the stats out for you. Gave you July and August. Nothing really. Everything's pretty in place. August's numbers as far as activity is proactive wise from the officers was down significantly, but that's in part, I believe, to the July 24th event. So I would just chalk it up as that, and so at least that's what they say when I ask them. We have. I met with Brad Williams today. He is the highest executive up there at 7-Eleven/Speedway, and he wanted me to reassure the mayor and village council and everybody that they are going to continue to support the village of Enon and the department as in the past. He wanted to let me know that there was a little mix-up there because of the changeover for National Night Out from the delay in supporting that, but he reassured me that they had no intentions of not doing what they had done in the past.
And who was this person?
His name is Brad Williams. He's the vice president there. I don't know. I know he's a VP. He's the highest executive at that building for that company. So
Okay. So he's with 7-Eleven. The
7-Eleven
part.
/ Speedway, right? That's what I call them.
Okay.
That's what I referenced them as. Yes, but they're there. So it was nice. I told him that we were thankful for anything they could do, but I appreciate him letting me know that, and I would pass it on. He's a very nice guy. He's from Texas, and we talked for a few. And like I said, I liked him, and he did say that Veronica would be our contact, obviously, which we found by your email down there. So we wouldn't need to do that. Just if I could reach out to him if I needed, or we could reach out to him if we didn't get a hold of Veronica. But
Well, we may have something coming up where we might take them up on that. So
yeah,
we won't mention anything specific right now, but
and that wasn't even the reason why I was there. It wasn't the topic. He brought it up. Like I said, very nice guy.
Good.
He's very good friends with Glenn that was there previous to the president, so it was nice. So
Mike, I'm glad you have a relationship with him because I just don't know the names or the faces over there anymore. So
I told them that. I said they always ask me because I know all of you folks, and I get to walk up in the glass buildings all the time. So at any rate, I told him I continue to do that for him because we always have. It's like been 9 years, I believe. Our agencies went up there and did the fingerprinting for them for their licensing. So, and they were thankful because he actually is aware that that's not in our jurisdiction. And he said that was pretty awesome. I said, well, nothing's going to change. We'll continue to do it. It's a few minutes out of the day plus whatever. But
absolutely.
yeah. If you notice one of my cruisers are missing, we had a water pump go out, and since Fairborn hadn't been able to work on our patrol cars the last couple of years, I've been trying to move them around, but if it's across the street, that's a process that requires basically removing the motor, so it's not going to be we've had one done before, but it takes time. I did get with Montgomery County on, we had a piece of molding missing from one of the cars because it was just a defect, I guess, but not enough to get a recall. But they had the extra parts laying down there, so I took it down, and Darren Peppo, I believe is his name, he's one of their head techs. He was able to knock it out in about half hour, and they had them in stock, so that's back on there. I don't. If for those of you that noticed the duct tape there for a couple weeks, is we didn't want it to leak, and it just had to do it. But good news from down there. He put me in contact with a guy up in New York. We had talked about the cruiser purchasing, and then I said we couldn't order one for 32 months through Ford, but there's a place up in New York they have in stock on the lot as of sitting there with VIN numbers on them. They have the Dodge Durangos. So I asked them to send me a quote, which I apologize for not making copies for you, everybody, but I just forgot when I walked in here. It's been a pretty busy day for me. But I will send those out in an email. But just to summarize it for you, the 2022 V8 Dodge Durango Black, which is what we usually go with, and we have it striped, is 41,470, which is significantly a little bit cheaper. Well, I say significantly cheaper than the Ford SUVs we were buying. But at any rate, I'll send that out. I want to get a hold of West Banco and kind of put some stuff together. But I did want to let the council know that was I call it a needle in a haystack because nobody can get cars. So. I believe that's it. We got some officers out. There's some sickness going around, so hopefully nobody gets it. But I guess COVID's making its nasty little round again, but it's not as bad. But the construction's doing okay. I haven't had too many problems. I think the folks are doing great. And that being said, I'll field any questions, but that's all I have report-wise. I don't think I missed anything.
Has the county came out with the night they're planning on doing trick or treat?
I have not heard anything.
Okay.
But as soon as I do, I'll let
I've had
you know.
about 7 people ask me when it's going to be. So
Ready?
Yeah. So it's September 12th.
I think sometime in October. Oh, you know what? We do have the homecoming parade coming up at the end of September, and Superintendent Kanafke did send me a request over for that. And
I forgot to mention that.
Yep, I've since passed it on to the administrator, so I don't have the date, but we do have the date. I just don't have it on me, and I don't know. Yeah.
Thursday, the 29th.
Thank you, sir.
Yep, of
Thursday, the
September.
29th. Yep, I'll be there about 6. I think he told me 5:30 or 6. It stops right there. Yeah, September 29th. So that'll be their homecoming parade. They'll be going from the Enon Primary to the Greenon K through 12 building, and then they'll pull off in the parking lot, I assume, have their bonfire and stuff, which they'll be reaching out for the fire department for that, I imagine.
Any other questions for our chief? Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Good report. Let's move on to committee reports. Mrs. Sweet.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. At the last meeting, we discussed wages and pay scale, and before we adopt that, I need to know if there's any more discussion, because we had a couple of council members who were not here, so if they have any questions, or I know you looked over it briefly.
I just want to say, again, I appreciate the efforts. I did task the committee with looking at this project, and I know it's taken a while, but I think it's been well worth it. And having an outside professional basically put these figures together for us, I think was the best that we could do. And they look good to me. I mean,
There was something I forgot about in that meeting. I just wanted to highlight in the policy manual, wages, salary, benefits manual. I know the compensation part, it hasn't been approved yet, but in a part in there, we talked about longevity pay for, and I think there was 1%, 1.5%, and so on. After so many years, and then the evaluations was anywhere from, I believe, 1% to 3% increase, and I thought we might want to consider factoring that in before we vote to final. I don't know what that would do, but I just wanted to highlight that because I was looking over at my office and I thought, well, depending on what that is, a 4% increase in a salary could be pretty significant, especially if you go on top of a cost of living raise. You might, but just food for thought. I was looking at that and I didn't want to.
I think if we use this as our basis, as our starting point,
Agreed.
and then if we have to grow, and just to piggyback on that just a little bit, we'll be getting with the staff and doing one last review before that comes to the committee. I just wanted to have everybody together. We've got one that's on vacation, but I think this is a really good starting point. I know I'm comfortable with it, but it's the council's decision.
Okay.
One, I guess, position that kind of thought about, it's listed as admin assistant / clerk of court. Would that position be more of a admin assistant like what I probably think of, or would it be like an administrator, assistant administrator? Because I think those are two different things. Mm-hmm. An administrative assistant would be more like a office clerk kind of person, just coming from the base. That's what I view it as, where an assistant administrator may have more responsibility. The pay might be different. I'm not sure the ranges that we got from other municipalities, if we were looking at the correct ranges or the correct position. I don't know.
So it's terminology is what you're asking us to,
Right.
so what do you think, Kevin, since you're working there? I see what you mean, though, and I think probably assistant administrator would be more appropriate for that position, rather than administrative assistant.
I think that's what the title is, though, administrative assistant / clerk of court. That's what her emails say.
So would it be essentially a management position rather than a clerical position, somewhat?
And I think probably your salary reflects that too, correct?
Well, I'm just not certain on the actual duties that are performed. I don't know if it's necessarily an administrative assistant, how I would think an administrative assistant would be, and how other municipalities would pay that position. Is the only reason I'm bringing it up.
Go ahead.
Good point.
Yeah, the responsibilities, from what I see, from helping you with code enforcement, helping you with zoning, taking care of the billing, taking care of, because I don't think you do any of that stuff, correct? Billing, the posting, or any of those type of, like, errors that may come about. It's not clerical. It's not all clerical, right?
Right, it's not.
It's
all-
not
and I don't
not a
know
clerical
I mean,
type
I
of
don't know if there's
position.
a
So,
percentage clerical, percentage assistant, I don't know.
yeah,
But it's not all.
whether you'd want to change the title or not, I don't know. That would be, I guess, up to council.
Yeah, the only reason I was bringing it up is I feel like there would probably be a difference in the wages that we would see based on somebody looking at a title of a position. So I don't know if we can reach back out to them and find out, if they could look at the title of assistant administrator, if there are such a thing in other municipalities.
There are.
I don't know, but just my thoughts.
No, Jeremy, you probably speak to this better than maybe most of us. In the federal government, there's, I forget what the title of it is, that you actually have your position scored or rated as far as, does it fall into a niche that it would get a pay grade? I'm not sure if they call it an audit. But,
Desk audit.
okay, yeah, so off of that, maybe, we're unclear and I hate to not being part of the committee, what I would see off of this is to have some quantitative results on actually what's done there, and whether that would fall into a quasi-management or whether it would fall back into another position that whether it might be mid-management or clerical. But the waters are so diverse in this position. It's hard to
Right.
throw a dart on what hat you're wearing at any particular time. So, and I hate to say that because it's y'all's situation, but that's the way I see it or maybe interpret it.
And that should be, I would think, indicated in what that job description reads, right? When the job descriptions were redone. So,
Do we have copies of that?
I thought
'Cause
you did.
I never got a copy of that. Did
I
you get
thought
a
he
copy
gave
of
us
that?
a copy of all.
I can get them again, but I
Yeah,
thought, that's no problem.
There were, but I think there were some gray areas.
so
considerable
do you
gray
want to
areas.
postpone any action, and then that way,
Well, if we have to redefine a position, because that could change potentially the wage scale. And
Right.
it could change the
Yeah, so-
position to potentially a salaried position versus a hourly position.
I mean, just my thought would be, we hold off unless there's a
Okay.
reason that we need to do it. I think we talked last time. I think the only one we were kind of trying to get through, which we already did, was the police officers. So I mean, unless you guys see another reason to do it now, I would rather feel better about
Having it
that.
labeled properly.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I believe our goal is to make sure we don't have to do this every year.
Right.
I mean, we're trying to
Right.
make this something that we
Right.
can continue to move forward with.
I will email you the job descriptions tomorrow to everybody, again.
Okay, thank you.
Personally, I'd rather see some type of activity, of daily activities as far as what goes on, because a job description can work for or against the particular employee. And if we don't really know what niche this is falling into, a job track that they're doing on a daily basis, I think, personally, I think would help quantify that. I don't want to be overly intrusive as far as the administrative portion of your area, Kevin. But by the same token, I think all of us, it might be a benefit to us to have an idea of basically what that job entails on perhaps a weekly basis or a bi-weekly observation. Any other thoughts up here I would appreciate, but.
I don't see, Kevin, like a weekly summary or something like that would be out of the question.
No, they all fill them out every
Right, so
every day.
that's
every-
something that
every
you guys work on anyhow, so, yeah. Okay, any other comments about that topic? Let's go into old business and let's talk about the planning commission meeting. So we had our meeting, and that meeting was held back on the 23rd of August. And there was a wait period, Kevin, for the decision of the planning commission was to approve the lot split from the applicant, which was Mr. Joe Smalden. And this was for the address of 106 West Main Street and 77 North Green Street. And that lot split would basically take lot number 1, if I can find my information here, take lot number 1 and split it and combine it with lots 44 and 43. The commission did approve that. And have we heard any objections or has anybody filed any kind of an appeal?
No, they have not.
Okay, so my recommendation to the council is to approve the decision of the planning commission to allow Mr. Smalden to split that lot and then go ahead and combine it with the existing lot. It gets everything evened up, and I think that's what our goal is always in the village, is not to have irregular shaped lots, and that's what this action would do.
I will move to approve the Enon Planning Commission decision on the split lots.
I'll second.
Moved by Mr. Whitaker, seconded by Mr. Bear. Any further discussion? Okay, call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
All right, that motion passes. Okay, so at the last meeting, we passed ordinance number 2022-03, and I failed to catch the part, should have known better, that it does take 5 votes of council to suspend that 3 reading rule. Well, we only had 4 members present, so we couldn't get 5 votes. So we're going to have to do a redo. That one's on me. And this was an emergency ordinance that authorized the administrator to enter into an agreement with Aspen Energy Corporation for the supply of electric for the village, for village-owned accounts, and to sign all required documentation and declaring an emergency. So I will throw it back out for a second time so we can get it right this time.
I will move that we waive the 3 reading rule.
And I'll second.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker, second by Mrs. Sweet. And call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes?
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And now to officially pass this ordinance, I would entertain a motion in a second.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Sweet, seconded by Mr. Bear. Any further discussion on this topic? I know we're already locked in, so this is just a formality. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Okay, that ordinance passes and becomes effective immediately. And we have no new business, no executive session. Public comments?
Please.
Seeing none?
Which, like, that
What's this?
do we
resolution
have?
accepting the amounts and rates.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yes, we have one more item of business.
I didn't know if I missed something, maybe.
Nope.
Whenever.
No, I didn't see it on the
Yep.
agenda or
Right.
whatever, so.
Will we need an approval of the financial report as well?
That'll be next time.
Okay.
Yep. So, Kevin, do you want to take this one?
This is a resolution accepting the amounts and rates as determined by the Budget Commission and authorizing the necessary tax levies and certifying them to the county auditor. It is for the general fund and the police levy. Amount to be levied outside the 10 mil limit. You want me to read all those, or?
I don't think that's
Okay.
necessary. I think the council can. And we do this every year, so this is required by the auditor's office. And this would be emergency resolution 2022. Laura does not have a number. Do you happen to have a number?
I think it's 4.
Okay,
We'll go with 4.
2022-04.
I think it is.
So we would entertain a motion and a second to suspend the 3 reading rule for resolution 2022-04.
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Mrs. Sweet, seconded by Mr. Avery. Call the roll, please.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
Now a motion and a second to approve emergency resolution 2022-04.
So moved.
Second.
Any discussion? Was moved by Mr. Bear, seconded by Mr. Whitaker. Call the roll.
Mrs. Sweet,
Yes.
Mr. Bear,
Yes.
Mr. Whitaker,
Yes.
Mr. Avery,
Yes.
Mr. Hannah.
Yes.
And that emergency resolution does pass. No further business? No comments from the public?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion by Mr. Whitaker, second by Mr. Bear. All in favor, say aye to adjourn.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Meeting adjourned.
7:48.